to the Vitalmoments podcast. I'm David, the host today, and I'm joined by my man, site pastor of Forest, Tony Mejia. How's it going, dude?
Pretty good. Living the life with my instant coffee,
Instant coffee, bro?
Oh, dude, it's so underestimated, I'm telling you. There's special techniques, but we won't go into it today. But
okay, I might have to kick you off the podcast if you are literally saying it is underrated.
It's so underrated.
You're wild, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Like, this is one of the things why I love you. You have these little things that you do that no one else would be like, yo, I really like this. And it just makes you who you are. It's so great, dude. Yeah. Have we ever been on the podcast, just you and me together?
Probably. It's all a blur at times.
It's literally a blur, right? It's like it's almost already April, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's so good to have you on, dude. I'm pumped to chat with you. And we're in our series, Empowered. Man, it's like week in and week out. These messages just come and bring life and faith and even wrestling and tension with our communities. And this gift of serving, the spiritual gift of serving as a follower of Jesus, places their faith in Jesus. He pours out his spirit upon them, gives them a supernatural gift. And I think when I look at our church at VPC, and you said this in your message, we have so many people serving and probably have this gift. And it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's very evident from the fruit of VPC and the impact. And it's just like, it's so amazing. And I love that we got an opportunity to celebrate the willingness and abilities to serve and how it is a gift and has internal impact, really. So, yeah.
Dude, and you talking about celebrating, you guys just celebrated 1 year in Forest, like as Sunday morning gatherings.
Yeah, it's like, amazing. Yeah.
How'd it go? Can you kind of like let the rest of the church kind of know like a little bit about how it went?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really cool to be there and just be like, it's been 1 year. Like we celebrated with little things, stories, reflecting back at like, okay, this is what, has happened. And it's just great as Forest to be like, okay, like we have 1 year under our belt.
Dude,
what does God have next? Right? Like just getting your footing in, and it's just the beginning. So
yeah, it is just the beginning there. And God is, he's been there for a while, and it's just amazing that he's called us to partner with him. So it's just amazing.
Absolutely.
So, but serving, dude, like you had a great talk this past weekend. I enjoyed it, but you talked about characteristics that maybe are part of the gift of serving, right? And I don't want to get into those right now. If you are listening to this, go back and listen to Tony's talk. Brings some good clarity to that. But I want to focus in on one story that you brought up, and you kind of joked around before we got onto the podcast. Like I went quickly through that, and that's fine. But I want to open it up more. And it's the story of Mary and Martha. Jesus is in their home. Like, just imagine that. Like, the physical Jesus is in their home. And you got two scenarios. Do you want to just open up the story a little bit of what's happening with Jesus and Mary and Martha?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you're saying, like, Jesus is in their home, and Mary's just enjoying the fact that he's there. They're both having instant coffee together. And then Martha is literally going, cleaning, cooking, serving, like Jesus is in my home, right? Yeah. So that panic kind of goes in, as we know, as Connect group leaders. So we're shoving things under carpets, into closets. And it's just like, maybe not everyone is helping. And I love how we find Martha in this moment of complaining while serving.
Yeah. And
that's kind of where I began to lean into the story to see if it was supposed to be part of this talk. So yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, and I think what's fascinating, you joke around, like as Connect group leaders, like you're quickly, especially in the Monday night Connect groups, they're probably like, man, it's the beginning of the week. It starts off like this, and you're like shoving things under carpets. Or this is why we believe in that there's two groups of leaders. There's the ones that will lead the facilitating of the conversation, and then there's the ones that have the gift of hospitality and serving that will be able to be like, you know what, this brings me joy to clean my house and make it open and allow people to be seen. Right. So there is a method to our madness when it comes connect group leaders.
That's right.
And training and equipping the right people to be part of this. But what is fascinating, though, is there's a reality of we're bringing and allowing people to come into our homes or into our garages and shops, if there's like a men's group that hangs out in shops and stuff like that, or wherever you are gathering. And this story it's a beautiful one for us as followers of Jesus, because we are inviting the presence of God into our lives every single day, but especially into our connect groups. And it's not just Mary and Martha in that story. There's others that are there as well. The disciples are there. And what's been pinging around in my mind, I wanted to ask you about this, is this: does the church need Marys and Marthas to really experience who he is? Because we need Marys and we need Marthas. There's tasks to be done. There's things to get done within a church, right? But we also need Marys that set the example of being in the presence of Jesus. So we need Marys and Marthas, but Jesus kind of rebukes Martha. Not kind of, he does. What's she missing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I totally agree with you how we need the Marys and Marthas. And that's why there was that one line of serving wasn't her mistake.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good.
Because a lot of times we can be like, well, if I wasn't serving, then maybe this wouldn't have happened in my life, or this wouldn't have slipped, or this or that. Serving was never the mistake. It's the fact that she was in the presence of God, like Jesus, right? And she lost sight of that. She totally lost sight of the fact that when we're called to serve, it's actually a point of connection of relationships. When you could easily hand out things to people in need, you could easily be part of a serving team and shake a hand and not see them as a person, a soul, someone that God cares for, someone that's called to be connected as well. And that was Martha's mistake, was she lost the fact that there's a relational component to our serving, and it's not just about the responsibility. But the responsibility is to have that relationship and make those connections, that there's a real God, right? This go between of real God, real life in real time. So Mary, and then the Marys, they enjoy the presence of God, and Mary plays a role too. Like she's serving, she does things as well. It's just capturing the moment and realizing, what is my role in this moment? Like, what is my role in this moment? And Martha could have served and been in the presence of God at the exact same time. And that's why Jesus said, right, like verse 41, the Lord answered, Martha, Martha, you're anxious and troubled about many things. And life is full. Like, there's a lot of things that happen we think of, and sometimes when our mind gets muddled, we lose the sight of why we do what we do.
Cool. Yep. I like that. And I love how Jesus calls her by name, right?
Yeah, it's
like
beautiful.
Martha,
too.
Martha, twice. It's like, let me grab your attention. Martha, Martha. And I think I don't have the gift of serving. I don't. Do I love to serve? Yeah, because Christ calls us, all of us, to serve.
Absolutely.
But I don't have that supernatural gift. So I believe for me in my life, I have heard the Martha, Martha. It's like, David, like you're troubled and you're doing the things, which is great. You're getting it done, but you're missing my presence within it. And I love this humble, meek, but bold call out to Martha. It's like, don't miss me here. Like, you're doing a great job. You've got, like, there is food on the table. There is instant coffee, as Tony has said. It's probably in the Message translation.
Yeah, sure.
It's being done, but don't miss my presence. And I think that as a church, what we're noticing is that these people that have these characteristics of a servant or the spiritual gift of service, I think what we're realizing is there's a lot of people enjoying Jesus's presence as they serve, whether it's in a community impact thing, right? Or a Sunday morning experience gathering that they're part of a team, kids, creative arts, guest services, or what other sites have, and whatever other sites have. But we need, as followers of Jesus, to never lose sight. I think this is why Jesus says, fix your eyes on the kingdom of heaven. Mm-hmm. It aligns our hearts with truly what he is doing. And our spiritual gifts empower us to truly build his kingdom the way he needs it done. Because, Tony, speak on this a little bit. Do you think that sometimes when we do service or serving out of a selfish ambition, it can easily slip into I'm building my kingdom. I want to be recognized for the things that I'm doing here at this church.
Absolutely. And there's so much danger to that. And that's why serving in that posture of humbly serving, focusing on the presence of God, how this is not about us, and how we're part of actually something greater. Like the kingdom of God is something greater than us, though God calls us into it, and he calls us by name. Like saying, Martha, Martha. We shared about James and the brothers of Zebedee, right? And how he called them onto him. He said, hey, right? And he calls us into these things. And we could easily lose the fact that God calls us by name, but he calls us into this family, right? Where it's not like it's our face, our personality. It's no, we're called into this bigger body, and we all have this role to play. And the importance of it is everybody. You could lose the fact of we mentioned the people in the background, like the media people, the tech people, all of them, they have a part to play, and it's important. And you only notice them when something goes wrong, right? So it's
you're like, where are they?
Yeah, right. So the danger is to make it about ourselves. But serving's intent is that we are to serve one another and build up his church and give him the glory. And we do that through the body of Christ.
Let's transition into connect groups. Yeah. We've got people that are going to wrestle with this. My connect group meets on Monday nights. Well, a few of the people in our group are like, I believe my gift is serving. I can't wait to chat with them. Do I believe it's probably their gift? Absolutely. Because when we in their presence, we're seen, we're known, they just say yes. It's done with joy. But speak to the people that are in the connect groups this week. What's the heart of this for you as a communicator? Doing the wrestling, you have this spiritual gift, you said. It's been confirmed in your life for many years. What would you want them to take away? What's the big thing for them as they wrestle with these things?
I would go back to that piece of ability and willingness to serve as a gift. And because there's two components of it, it's you may have the ability, God may have given you maybe some natural abilities. Maybe God is empowering you to serve in ways that you never thought of. And that's very important. But your willingness is a key part, because it's saying yes to what God has called you to do, not saying yes because a spot opened up or any of that, even though sometimes that's what actually invites you into these moments. But as Connect Group, it's going into these moments of celebrating and also challenging the fact that we have abilities, but we also have this willingness. And when they both play, or they're both aligned with humbly serving, it brings eternal impact. So I would love that wrestling of that in our conversations. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, when you're saying that, for me, it's just I want to encourage people as well. If you have this gift, don't become a serving giant doormat where you just say yes, 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 yes. And then you're still serving out of joy, but in ways you're like, I just say yes to everything because things need to get done. No, like make sure that your yeses are yeses and your nos are nos to step into the right opportunities, right? That is huge, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying say yes, make your yeses yeses and your nos nos. And when a site pastor is like, hey, like you're not connected yet to a church, like to the team, or we want to ask you to start contributing around here. Don't use Tony's words from Sunday's message being like, no, I'm not going to do that as an excuse. Say yes so you can get into the rhythm of what does it look like to be part of a family, part of a movement of God, again, or for the first time ever, to discover the passion and the joy that you have in serving, to place people above yourself, in front of yourself, and you take the back seat, that their needs are met before yours. Because as we do that, needs just get met all over the place. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, David, because you lose the relational piece when you're saying yes to every single part.
Say that again.
So you lose a relational piece of serving when you say yes to everything else.
Okay.
Because you're saying yes, so you're actually too divided. So when you're saying yes to maybe two areas, like say if it's greeting and media, you're connected and you're going to be seen and known by those two groups. And you actually can build relationships in there and connections and thrive. But if you're split in so many different sections, like
3-4 areas, it's
it's easy to hide. It's easy for people not to maybe know when you're not okay. Right? Or to be there to celebrate with you if you're hitting a milestone. Like there's so much beauty, and I truly believe that it's not because of the way that we do church, like the modern way of doing church. I really believe that serving comes from God's intent for the body from the beginning of time. It's his design that will continue and go in. It's not like we're going to celebrate eternity not doing nothing. You know, like we get to have our parts to play and enjoy, and it's something that just continues to echo throughout our lives. So I totally agree. Like don't split yourself too much, because you'll lose the relational piece and it'll just become responsibility.
Okay, Tony, dude, thank you so much. The series is definitely stirring some hearts and minds, right? Remember, as a follower of Jesus or someone that is new to faith, maybe starting to take that step of faith into like, you know what? I believe Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I'm going to actually accept him into my life and be my Savior, my Lord, and my King. Like sit in the tension with it, but do not allow it to grow to anxiety or fear or like, I don't know my gift. Is there something wrong with me? It is just this simple of like, okay, God, where are you asking me to get connected? To serve and to learn my gifting. And that's what we're excited about as a pastoral team. All the site staff, like department heads, were like, man, we're praying for the new people that are going to get connected or say, you know what, I've been serving in this area and I actually think I need to move over to this area because that's a place where I can pour my life into. And that's how the church grows. Not by just numbers, but by faith and serving and joy. And I'm stoked to see what happens in all of our sites, especially with Forest being like just over a year now, like day over a year.
Yeah. It was cool. After service, we got a bunch of join the team things, sign-ups, and
come on.
So stoked.
I love that.
So stoked.
Okay. God's church is moving. God's church is growing. And thanks so much for listening to the podcast or watching, Tony. Thank you for your heart on this one. Definitely saw the wrestling. We will all be praying for your instant coffee. I'm playing with you, bro. But thanks so much, everyone. Peace out. Have a good one.